So the Apple AirPods Pro and the new Sony XM4 earbuds are two of the most powerful and capable pairs on the market. With incredible features, powerful noise cancellation, and a similar price tag, the question arises of which one is actually the better buy. Between these two earbuds, obviously you have a lot of capability here, but in this video, we'll be diving into the similarities and differences and actually show you some testing that you can see for yourself, including the microphone test, active noise cancellation test, and of course we'll be covering anything else you might want to know before considering buying one of these earbuds. So, which one's actually the best? Well, if you're new here to this channel, please do click that subscribe button below. For anyone else, welcome back to the channel. We have a lot to talk about in this video. I've obviously been using the AirPods Pro for quite a while now, and they've been a long-term favorite for Apple users. Obviously, they have a ton of features, great connectivity with the Apple ecosystem, and they have a lot of things that they really did right. But now, Sony has the XM4 earbuds, which before we looked at the XM3s and we said, you know what, there were a couple things you could discredit. Some features that weren't quite there. They were really large, very bulky. Some people didn't like the comfort, but now Sony really came back with some vengeance here. And if you saw my original review, I talked about some of the great features we have on here, including a long battery life, fantastic active noise cancellation, the LDAC codec for better audio experience, and of course they come with foam tips. So we'll get into the testing in a second, but let's first talk a bit about the physical design. So I talked about how the XM4s are substantially smaller than the XM3s from Sony, and that's great. But when looking at the cases side by side, you'll see that the AirPods case is still a bit smaller. On top of that, it does have tighter tolerances and a more solid metal hinge there. So the case design, I do prefer the AirPods case, but you know, another downside is that you do actually have that lightning cable on the bottom. I think USB Type-C is becoming more and more popular, and so as far as charging goes, you might be more likely to find a USB-C cable. Of course, that's a really subtle difference there, but when we open up the cases, the earbuds really couldn't be more different. Looking at them side by side, you can see, of course, the AirPods have that classic stem, and the Sony earbuds are a little more compact in just one kind of sphere. So you guys can leave a comment and let me know which one you think looks better. My personal preference leans towards the Sony earbuds. I like the design of them better, but I know some people really like that iconic AirPods look. So, I mean, like I said, leave a comment and let me know which one you think looks better. An advantage is that you do have two different colors available with the Sony XM4s, whereas the AirPods obviously only have one color. And of course, on top of that, the way they're controlled is also very different. So the Sony earbuds have customizable touch controls, so you can touch on the outside once, twice, 3 times, you can hold it. And of course, on the AirPods, you have that little pinch force sensor. They're both IPX4 water resistant. They're both very secure in your ears. I have no problem running with these or doing workouts. But as far as comfort goes, they are fundamentally different. Obviously, the way they fit in your ear is going to be slightly different, so everybody has different ear shapes and you're gonna have different preferences, but the ear tips themselves are very different. So the AirPods come with 3 different little silicone tips, and the Sony buds come with 3 different foam tips. And the foam tips, you kind of have to compress them a little bit, and then you put them in the ear, they expand, they block out a lot of sound around you, and they do provide a lot of benefits that we'll talk about when we get to sound quality and active noise cancellation in this video. But as far as comfort goes, I do lean a little bit towards the AirPods Pro. I found that after about 2 hours or 3 hours, the Sony earbuds do become slightly less comfortable for me. That's just, again, my own preference, my own ears. Everybody's different, but I find that they're a little bit hotter and they do kind of press my ears a little bit more. And of course, the last thing you'll notice physically is that the Sony earbuds, when you hold them side by side, are a little bit larger by volume. They don't really look larger when you're wearing them, but that does give them room for a better battery life. You're looking at 8 hours per charge in the earbuds, 24 when you include the case, whereas on the AirPods, you're looking at almost half that, 4.5 hours in the earbuds, but 24 hours with the case. So as long as you're not wearing them for more than 4 hours at a time and you put them back in the case to recharge, you should get the same battery life, the full 24 hours. But for anyone looking for that long-term use, that is a huge advantage, almost double the battery life with those Sony earbuds. Now, that's pretty much the last thing I want to mention with the physical design differences. The only other thing maybe in this category would be the packaging comes a little bit different. The Sony earbuds come in a recycled cardboard container, so it's a little bit more eco-friendly. I think that's a big positive. I like to see that direction, that more manufacturers should be moving that way. The price for these earbuds is really not that different. So the AirPods Pro, you're looking at about $250 US, while the Sony WF-1000XM4s sell for about $280, so slightly more expensive, but you're more than likely to see sales on either one of these, and I'll put links below so you can find those sales. So next, let's talk a little bit more about compatibility. Of course, these are both Bluetooth earbuds, so they connect to anything that connects to Bluetooth, whether that's a tablet, tablet, a smart TV, a phone, it really doesn't matter. But when it comes to compatibility, you do have other features and other functionality that you'll get within certain ecosystems. So the obvious example here, the AirPods Pro are going to work far better with Apple products. If you have an iPhone and an iPad, then you're going to be connecting very seamlessly between them. If you switch devices, it'll just kind of switch with you, and it gives you a great experience overall. You can use AirPods Pro on an Android phone, and for the most part, you're getting a lot of the same experience, but you're missing out on some big things. You're missing out on that seamless switching, you're missing out on the hands-free Siri, you're missing out on the ability to even get firmware updates, for example, and some other things like that. So as far as compatibility goes, Apple's known to not really play nicely with others, and the AirPods Pro are no exception. Now, the Sony earbuds do play really nicely with most devices. So, for example, if you have an Android phone, you can get the Sony app. If you have an iPhone, you can get the essentially same Sony app, and you're able to have a full access to all of their different features. I will point out that if you have an Android phone, you do have a slight advantage with the Sony earbuds, being that you do have access to their LDAC, which is their proprietary codec, giving you a higher resolution audio, but AAC on the iPhone is still going to sound really good on these as well. Of course, they also connect to any other device like I mentioned, and you do have access to both Alexa and Google Assistant on the Sony earbuds, whereas you only have Siri on the AirPods Pro. So anyone who uses Alexa or Google Assistant, again, another obvious advantage there, and you can get updates no matter what ecosystem you're in. So for compatibility, I think the clear winner here is going to be the Sony earbuds, and that kind of leads me into the next category of features. So both of these have a lot of features, but let's start off with the Sony earbuds. Now, the Sony XM4s have something called speak to chat, which means that if I just start talking, it'll detect that, it'll turn my music way down and turn on like a transparency mode so I can hear my surroundings. This is a great feature if you have to ask like a bus driver something, or you're commuting and you just need to quickly talk, but you don't want to take your earbuds out. It'll give you the ability to talk to somebody for like 15 or 20 seconds, and then after that, it'll turn your music back up. Really convenient feature. These both have some version of 360 audio or spatial audio, which is a really nice thing. You can hear like the surroundings. It's a lot better than normal stereo audio. They also have customizable touch controls. You have Google Fast Pair, which again, if you have an Android phone, as soon as you open the earbuds case, it'll show up on your phone and you can pair with that for the first time. And you also have EQ adjustments. So a lot of functionality and features with the Sony earbuds. Oh, and one other thing, if you just happen to hold the earbud, you can hear your surroundings again. Another great thing if you're on a train and you want to hear like what the next stop announcement is, great thing to do. Now the AirPods, of course, have a lot of their own functionality as well. They have like seamless Apple switching between Apple devices. You have Find My AirPods, you have hands-free Siri, you have an adaptive EQ, and like I said, you do have that spatial audio as well. And you have a really nice mono mode. Now I want to point out that mono mode does also work on the Sony earbuds. I know in my previous video, I said it was a master-slave connection. That's actually not really true. So what I was testing was actually when you have voice assistant enabled, which I assume most people would, then it acts like a master-slave connection. But if you go in the app and you disable the voice assistant, which is really unfortunate, then it acts as an independent connection, which I thought was really interesting, very strange that Sony does that, and it's definitely, I would chalk that up as a drawback. But the good news is, if you want an independent connection, if you want to listen to just one earbud at a time, you can do that, but the compromise is going to be the voice assistant. So with that being said, let's actually get into a microphone test now. Okay, so this is a microphone test. We are in a studio right now, and these are the Sony WF-1000XM4 earbuds. I'm talking at a normal volume, and this is probably what it would sound like if I was on a phone call with you. Next up, these are the Apple AirPods Pro. Again, we're talking in a studio environment right now, so there's not a lot of echo, but leave a comment below and let me know if you can hear what I'm saying. Now we're gonna go outside to a louder environment to see how they sound out there. Okay, so now we're outside in a louder environment with some traffic behind us. We already know the AirPods generally sound really good indoors and outdoors. For the past year, they've been really leading the pack. All right, now these are the Sony WF-1000XM4s. Again, plenty of traffic behind me, so leave a comment and let me know which one you think sounds better. Okay, and that brings us into the category of sound quality, which of course is a very important one when you're talking about earbuds. And the Sony earbuds, first of all, have a little bit more emphasis on the bass. You can fix this in the EQ, but they are more bass capable, in my opinion, than the AirPods, which honestly I think is a good thing. It makes the sound a little bit more warm, a little bit more full, a little bit more rich, and for a lot of music out there, it's going to be more fun to listen to with these Sony earbuds. Now, the AirPods have a little bit more of an emphasis around 1000 hertz and a little bit more emphasis on vocals. The bass is definitely a little bit disappointing for anybody who looks for more bass-heavy music, but in general, the AirPods, they still sound really good. Sony does have the LDAC codec, so if you're using an Android phone, as I mentioned before, you can have access to that high-resolution audio. I love it. I think it's a great thing to have. They also have their HSEE Extreme, or DSEE Extreme rather, and it's kind of like up-resing audio files. It's something that I don't especially use often, but it does exist if you want that. And they also have an EQ in the app as well, so it is easier to adjust the Sony earbuds to the EQ you want. And like I said, they are very capable. They do have a lot of bass, and with the foam ear tips, you get a lot more isolation from the sound around you, so that you don't have to turn up the volume really loud on the earbuds to get a really loud sounding music or song playing through these earbuds. So as far as the sound quality goes between these two, to make it as simple as possible, I think most people would probably most enjoy the Sony earbuds. I think that they sound better in general, they're more bass capable, and I think for a lot of genres out there, they are going to be the superior choice. Of course, if you're looking for more acoustic stuff, maybe some Ed Sheeran type stuff or podcasts, the AirPods definitely have their place and their benefits there. But, I mean, you guys can leave a comment if you used both of these. Let me know which one you think sounds better. Like I said, my preference is definitely with the Sonys. And with that being said, the final category I want to talk about is actually the active noise cancellation. And we'll get into a test, and I'll show you guys in a second exactly how these perform. But really, to summarize, the winner here is going to be the Sony earbuds. They're very powerful, really an incredible, capable pair of earbuds. And the big benefit they have is kind of a 1-2 punch. So not only do they have great active noise cancellation, but they also have far superior active noise or passive noise blocking using those foam tips. So if you put in the Sony earbuds and then you put in the AirPods, you'll notice that the Sony earbuds are way quieter because they have those foam tips. Now maybe you can get some aftermarket foam tips for your AirPods, and you might have a little more similar comparison here, but talking about the active noise cancellation, the Sony earbuds still win here. So one first observation is that when you put them both in your ears, you'll notice that the Sony earbuds are quieter. And I mean in a quiet environment, they don't make quite as much white noise. The AirPods do tend to have a really subtle white noise. Obviously, everything's going to have to make some sound when it's doing active noise cancellation, but the Sonys do a much better job of reducing that. Now, when you start cranking up the volume around you, different sounds are going to react differently, but I found that the Sonys do a better job for almost any type of sound out there. Crowd sounds, I found they do substantially better. On top of that, any kind of like loud tinny sound, if you're hitting like a cymbal or jingling keys, it really blocks it out a lot better on the Sony earbuds. For general white noise, they both do a great job. In fact, this is where the AirPods really start to catch up, and they're pretty much neck and neck for just a basic white noise, whether that's like a jet engine or something like that. But again, once you start factoring in the foam ear tips, the Sony earbuds really take the lead here. So as far as active noise cancellation goes, we'll get into a test in a second. I'll show you guys a little bit more about that, but the clear winner here has to be the Sony earbuds. So this is by no means a perfect test, but to demonstrate the general magnitude of the ANC, I played several sounds through a speaker and turned it up incrementally until I could hear it through my earbuds. So the first sound was a crowd sound, and this I could actually hear at volume 16 on the AirPods and volume 22 on the Sony. So this means that the Sony blocked out more sound for crowd sounds. When it came to jet sounds, this is a more basic white noise. This was actually volume 20 for both of them, which was very impressive for the AirPods. Then with the stream sounds, this was actually a landslide for Sony. It was volume 8 for the AirPods and volume 28 where I actually heard it with the Sony earbuds. So overall, a big win for Sony, but the AirPods did a pretty decent job with the jet sound. And that brings us to the conclusion of this video. Overall, which one is the better pair to buy? I would say that it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for better sound quality, the best active noise cancellation, an incredible battery life, and a really nice aesthetic design, I would say these Sony XM4 earbuds are the clear winner here. Personally, I prefer them for most situations, but of course, as always with Apple, the ecosystem is going to be what gets you. If you are in the Apple ecosystem and you have an Apple Watch, an iPhone, and an iMac, then it's going to be hard to say no to this, because one of the big drawbacks of the Sony earbuds is that they don't allow you to connect to multiple devices. If they allowed you to, I think that they would be a more obvious winner here, but if you're in the Apple ecosystem, switching between your iMac and your iPhone is really important to me, and I think that's a really nice feature the AirPods do. But you can leave a comment below. Let me know which of these two you think is better. Which one would you buy, and which features would you like to see on either one of these? As always, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.